How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at The Mask from Dark Horse Comics. This is the 4-issue miniseries and the 0-issue. Now, a lot of you probably know The Mask from the Jim Carrey movie, a good and funny, kind of a weird take on a superhero movie. And a lot of you probably know that the Mask comics is pretty different. But a lot of times I see on YouTube people going, hey, did you know the original Mask comics were violent? And then not really having any more of a discussion than that. But I wanted to take a look at the original comics and do a review for them. And no spoilers, but, you know, take a little bit of a look at the art and a look at the story. And see what's going on with that. So I have issues 1 through 4 in the 0 issue, and let's take a look at it. I'm going to start off by talking about the 0 issue, and then we're going to talk about 1 through 4 of the miniseries. So basically, and forgive me if I get any of the specifics wrong. I'm sure you guys will correct me in the comments, and that's a-okay. Like I said, it's kind of hard to research this stuff because most of the things you see on the internet is just either about the Jim Carrey movie, or if they mention the comics, they're like, hey, did you know they're violent, and that's it. So basically, The Mask was originally published as shorts in a variety magazine. I believe it was called Mayhem Comics, and there were 4 of them, and they would, you know, tell a story in each little one over the course of multiple issues, and then you would get the mini-series with 1 through 4. Now, after the mini-series was over, they put out a collection of all the little ones from Mayhem Comics into one book, so you could go back and read them without having to have all those issues of Mayhem. Now, this book, because it's a little longer, they made the cost even by putting it in black and white. So if you want the color, you have to get the original Mayhem or find a trade paperback reprint. I think there is a Mask Omnibus. I've been looking for it, and unfortunately in the stores, the trade paperbacks aren't as easy to find as they should be. I love the little logo there. You see the mask, and it's got his face. That's pretty fun. But anyway, so there are 4 collected in this, and basically these are 2 different stories. The original The Mask, the one from Mayhem, that's the story of Stanley Ipkiss. This is the one that the movie is based on. This is like a sequel to it. So anyway, let's just jump right in. You get this guy, Stanley Ipkiss, and he's buying this mask because him and his girlfriend earlier went to this pawn shop, and she said that she liked it. Now, they've been in a bit of a fight, so he's trying to win her favor back, you know? So, on the way there, you see that he's kind of a grumpy guy. The world's been working against him, and he's fantasizing about revenge on his way to his girlfriend's house. Now, luckily for him, she does appear to like it, but later that night, the mask appears to him when he gets up in the middle of the night, and he decides, well, you know, might as well just put it on, because, I mean, why not? It's a mask. And then you see it starts to kind of grab onto his face and transform, and now he has a crazy and wacky personality as well as the superhero abilities of a cartoon character. You know, he goes and he gets into a fight, and he eventually decides to take revenge on all the people who wronged him, starting with these motorcycle guys who were from the beginning of this short story, and they like splashed him with water, and you see he got run over, and he has a big tire track on his face, and you know, he just he doesn't die though, because he's in the mask persona, and he's like, okay, gonna follow them back to their hideout and get a little revenge. Now here's one of the mask abilities that is not really used in the movie exactly, but it's really fun. So he sneaks in, and he looks like this guy, and they're like, okay, what's up with you? And he reveals it's this disguise. So he has the ability, if he wants to shapeshift, he can grow someone else's face around his face, but almost because he's so powerful or something, rather than just being a mask or a disguise, he legitimately grows the face around his face. So when he takes the disguise off, he's ripping flesh atop the green mask, and it's really gross and violent. But that's what is depicted on this cover, if you want to see it in full color there. But anyway, he goes and he's on his crime spree, and he just makes this gun appear in front of him. Look at that. But he starts to be known as the criminal named Big Head. The comics called The Mask. Everybody in the movie, they just everybody just thinks of the character as The Mask, but in the comics they always call this character Big Head. Kind of obvious why. But this, it is definitely crimes and revenge, and even all the way to petty things like getting back at one of his teachers. He gets more militaristic and authoritative, and that gets his girlfriend mad at him. There's him hanging out in military camo, and it's one of those stories about a guy who's oppressed by the world, getting power, and then going way too far with that power, kind of like, say, Carrey or Willard. It's much more in that vein. Think of it, like one of those horror stories. So it's not him being a superhero, it's him finally getting revenge on the world. And I suppose I should show, because literally everyone who shows the comic shows the scene with the mechanic, right? But yeah, the mechanic, it's funny in the movie, but they totally kills those guys. He shoves all the mechanic tools in his head, and there's him with the, a muffler shoved in his head. See, it kind of cartoony but horrific. But yeah, everybody always shows the mechanic page, so I guess I will too. But anyway, yeah, The Mask issue 0, the original one from the Mayhem comics, is a revenge story, and it's pretty fun, but yeah, not really what you get from the movie. And then you get this, the Mask 4-issue miniseries, a comic book all for himself following his success. And this movie opens, hard to talk about. We'll try to avoid spoilers from the last one, but if I talk about it, you might be able to assume, a few things. But anyway, you get Stanley's girlfriend, and she gives this detective the mask, and she says, "Take it away from me, keep it safe, I can't explain it, just get it out of here, lock it up, and don't ever put it on." So she entrusts it to his safety. This is Lieutenant Calloway, who is in the movie, and Lieutenant Calloway, of course, he drives home with it, and, it's kind of like the Ring of Power from Lord of the Rings. It's hard to avoid its hard to avoid its its pull, but he's sitting there looking at it at the dinner table. He's like, why not put it on? And he's like, oh, wow. Now he recognizes the mask because he was hunting him down, and he's like, oh, wow, I'm suddenly this character who I was hunting down. Now here, the mask doesn't necessarily become a superhero, but he's more of a vigilante, like the Punisher. So all of a sudden, the Big Head Killer, it went from just, reign and tear and sabotage to being a vigilante, fighting crime. Here's him testing the mask out. He hitting himself with a hammer, and then he was going to shoot himself in his head, and he's like, even though this is supposed to be a superhero, let's not try that. And he shoots himself in the hand instead, and there's a ton of blood coming out of the hand. But anyway, yeah, he goes and he fights crime, and there's all this plot about, drug dealers and various families, so he's, the Mask is fighting drug dealers, a lot more serious nature than what you see in the movie. But here's a fun scene. There are these robbers, and they're hitting up this place, and they go to the getaway car, and the guy's like, the getaway car, it won't start. They open up the hood, and he's shoved himself in the hood, and he's like, I think it's your carburetor. But he, of course, goes and he beats these guys up. But yeah, it's a bunch of fun vigilante stuff. Like, imagine if the Punisher was really wacky and silly. Now, there are a few things, so you have an overpowered character, and a lot of people don't know how to write an overpowered character. Hence why a lot of people don't know how to write Superman. But there are a few things that they do that were really smart. One, the Mask is highly addictive, so that's one of the things that the wearer of the mask has to deal with, so it's not just put it on, it's like, woo, having fun, you have to worry about pushing it too far. But two, there are certain things like inner office politics that the Mask can't really help with, and he's trying to just do his job, and the chief gets on his back. Here's his partner, and it's a lot of trying to navigate the human side, and there are things you can't simply put a mask on and go crazy and smash stuff up. That doesn't always help you, and that's a fun way to do that. But there is another interesting element with the superpowered version. Go ahead and show you a fight. I think it's in issue 2 here. Yeah, so the Mask has his, the mob boss has this guy, and he's a really big guy, and he throws him into a car there, and you see that even though the Mask is really good at staying alive and he can pull out powerful things, it's totally possible to just beat him up. You don't necessarily have all the advantages in a fight when you're fighting this big guy, but the thing is, he can take it, that's really a fun thing, so with the Mask, he's not just gonna come and, pull out crazy stuff and necessarily kill you right away. If you can fight, maybe you stand a chance against him. The thing with fighting him, though, is he can always come back, so you can, like, break his arm and smash him into the pavement, and he can really take a beating, so it looks like maybe you stand a chance, but he's always going to get back up. So that's always a fun thing, and I think this guy, the lead henchman, the big tough guy, does come back in the sequels, but there's him getting smashed again and getting shot directly in the face, and he's got a hole in his head. But yeah, this is a really a fun story, and I really like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the covers. I should have done this at the beginning, but here's the cover for the Zero issue. It kind of a parody of the superhero comics. He's big and strong, and then if you flip it over to the back, each one of them has a weapon or something that repeats over and over. Baseball bats, and it broke against the logo there. So that's the Zero issue, Stanley Ipkiss, A Revenge Story. Then the first Calloway issue, he's pulling the fake head off of him, and the back, it's a bunch of these hammers. But yeah, a cool transition to vigilante justice, and this was really fun. Issue 2, it's a fun cover there. He's got his jacket on, a bunch of guns, and he's got a woman there. And the back of this one is all bombs. And then the next one, he's got a bunch of guys, and he's been shot and stabbed a bunch, and he's like, no, I'll take you all. And there's a big switchblade in the front. And then the back, very cartoony, is all anvils. And then you get the Mask with a giant axe, and he actually does use this giant axe in the book itself. And flip it to the back, and it's all dynamite this time. But yeah, the mask is overall... Oh, they blew the logo and it's crooked. Blew it up with the dynamite. But anyway, the mask, yeah, it's a really fun, like, cartoony Punisher, and then the first one, a revenge story. It's really, really cool, and I would love to see some sort of adaptation like the source material. Like I said, the Jim Carrey version was fun, but it was different. I would like to see, you know, maybe an adult cartoon or something. I'd love to see something more with this in the future. There are 2 sequels to this. The Mask Returns, and The Mask Strikes Back. So it's a trilogy. And I think they said they're doing one soon or something. If they do a 4th, I'll definitely pick it up and check it out. But yeah, a fun, darker take. Cool to see all this fun, violent crime with a cartoony element. It's really cool. And if you ever can find, I know they're kind of rare. I found all 5 of these as a pack at my comic shop for $20, which I thought was a fair price. But I really wish, you know, whenever something becomes a classic, I wish they would have just the trades available to find really easy, and sadly they aren't. But anyway, I do a comic a week on this channel, so more of these to come, and I try to, you know, find fun stuff like this. Other than that, I do a lot of horror movies. Most of this channel is me reviewing horror movies, so if that sounds like something you're interested in, I'd recommend checking it out. To everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching, and to everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom there. Should be my my comics playlist, so if anything else in there sounds fun, it'll all be in there. Alright, have a good day, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon.